Hi, Sarah and Dan again, and we're here to talk to you today about the recovery program for young adults who are struggling with video game addiction. When they come to us at Trails Momentum, we have a 6-component program, and we're talking today about how we help our young adults by educating them on the science around addiction, which is really pretty complicated, and most young adults and their families don't understand when they're in the middle, especially of an addictive process, an addiction process. So talk to us about the brain science. What do you talk to your young adults about when you're in session or in group? Like, how do we educate them?
Yeah, so it happens on different levels in our program. And the whole purpose of educating them is to help them to understand that this isn't just about willpower. This isn't just them messing up.
Right.
There's a whole process that
There's
happens.
stuff happening in the brain.
Up here, in our brain. Organically. So what we like to do is when we educate them, we talk about a lot of areas in the brain that get lit up in the middle of gaming, and it's significant.
And they can get that, like they're young adults, they can understand this,
They begin to understand,
Yeah.
and we do. We bring out models, and we look at what the brain looks like, and it's important again for them to know. Wait a minute, these processes go off in my head when I'm in front of the screen, and we address things like what kind of chemicals are dumped into the system, and some of them very similar to other drug use. Help them to understand the patterns that they get into, and that their neural pathways get into a habit almost, like a cow path.
Yeah.
And how they can make new cow paths and not have to have that experience when they don't game, of the moods that drop, the thinking that gets foggy, all of that stuff.
So it's interesting when you talk about this, it's like, well, now I understand what's happening to me, but I'm also empowered because I'm also learning things I can do differently, right?
Absolutely.
So in that understanding comes this new sense of like, I can take some responsibility for what I do moving forward.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And how does all of this feed into like the story they tell themselves about who they are and why they got to this place? Like, how do you use narrative in the process
to do that? So the cool thing about using narrative is that it helps the students kind of personalize the addiction and depersonalize them being the cause of it all the time.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So they're able to say things like, well, when the screening comes to me in my head, and sometimes we'll have kids like name that personality, like Bob came and talked to me today, and it sounds a little schizophrenic, but it's really being able to identify it in a way that's not who they are, but it's something they deal with.
So they give the signs, symptoms, cravings. They could maybe even give it an identity, a name or something, and make that into a story that they can then explain so that they can help process what they're experiencing.
Absolutely.
That's super helpful.
Yeah,
because everything we know about ourselves we know through stories. So I would imagine that having this approach is really helpful for them to again feel empowered, like they can change the trajectory of where they're headed. That's really amazing, and we're so lucky that our young adults have that opportunity at Momentum.
Absolutely.
So understanding the science of addiction is the 4th component to our 6-component recovery program, and we'd like to tell you more about what we do for young adults with video game addiction. Stay tuned and you can learn more about how our young adults develop relationship skills as part of their recovery program.